Hey, I'm Wispy, and to keep myself busy, I like to have big projects I can work on. Usually, that would be a webcomic, but lately something else has had my attention. I've been developing a visual novel. It's been a lot of fun, and I've been learning a lot of new skills, so I'll be going over what I've done so far, and hopefully it will be helpful to anyone else interested in making visual novels. Because surprisingly, they're actually quite straightforward to make. So first, the story of the project I'm currently calling Forget the Yokai. It's a dating sim set in the small Japanese town inhabited by yokai, but for some reason only the protagonist can see the yokai. This makes the yokai interested in them. However, will the protagonist keep their ability to see yokai when they leave town at the end of the summer? Next, the characters. The cast have come from various places. A few years ago, I was big on trading my art for character designs, so 3 of these characters have come from there, these being Mabel, Levi, and Umeko. You might recognize these guys from the Forget animation meme I made a few years ago now, which is where the title of the visual novel comes from. However, their designs will be a bit different from that old video. So far, out of these 3, Mabel is the only character in the mostly complete sections of the visual novel. She's considered the default female path. The default male path is a character I made more recently, Shinji. His design is inspired by my favourite Genshin Impact character, Wanderer, but personality-wise he's a bit more shy and less mean. Levi and Umeko will come later in the story, along with an Oni girl, Kaede, who will be met through Umeko's story. There is another character, but I want to keep them a surprise for now. For this project I'm using Ren'Py, a free software best known for being used to make Doki Doki Literature Club. It uses the coding language Python. At first, I was really nervous because I'm not great at coding and have only used the native language for the 3D software Maya, Mel. However, coding in Ren'Py is a lot easier than I thought. It's object-oriented, which means it comes with a bunch of pre-coded words which tell the game exactly what you mean. At least that's how I understand it, I'm still learning. Here's some of what I have so far in case you might need an example for yourself. Every time I need to add a new feature, I usually can get answers for what I want pretty quickly. When I started, I was getting a ton of errors, but now I barely get any. There's even a very in-depth tutorial and example games that come with the software. For the visuals and UI, it's a lot of replacing the default assets and adding in your own. I think the most important thing is making sure you can make different naming conventions for labels and assets. Labels are basically a new scene. Each one needs to be named different or things will get confusing, which can result in some super long names for very specific things. I also want each scene to have differently lit sprites, so each of these sprite sets need to be named differently too. Currently, the story's all planned out and all that's holding me up is asset creation. I've been enjoying creating a ton of different sprites for Shinji and Mabel, but I also have to make lots of backgrounds. Some scenes, when you're talking to a character, I won't be using normal sprites, and need to make new character art that matches that background. But that's just part of the process. And because I have no release schedule, I can take my time and just enjoy the process. As for how I will release this game, I was thinking of putting out a demo version once I've fully completed Shinji and Mabel's paths. Then later on, I will release a full version with the complete paths of all 6 characters. I was considering crowdfunding for this final version, with the demo version as a backer reward, but I don't think this will pick up enough attention for the crowdfund to be successful. With the demo as a reward, people who back the project will at least get something, but I've heard of too many indie game Kickstarter horror stories to be super excited about making one myself. Besides, I don't really need funding for my game. It will just allow me to work on it full time, and possibly hire some composers and VAs. Either way, this is fun to make, and I don't mind if it takes up all my spare time. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking to the end of the video. And I hope you found my experience useful, and that you've enjoyed the small preview of my game playing in the background. Make sure to like and subscribe, and until I post next, stay safe and I'll see you then. Bye!